Megan Sorrentino. I'm head instructor at Classical Horsemanship in Fort Collins, Colorado. Today, I'm going to show you some ways that you can practice the canter in the walk. What makes the gait a canter is that there's a very much defined thrusting diagonal. So even though you're walking to practice, you can still have a very defined thrusting diagonal. Particularly if your horse struggles with a certain lead, you can do different exercises to help accent that thrusting diagonal. Shoulder in type movements, half pass type movements, and turn on the haunches are all going to help you with your canter and your canter depart. What a canter is if I ask for a left lead canter, what I'm going to do is load the right hind and then tell the horse to push. So when I'm training green horses, before I even ask them to canter, I'll practice them placing the weight and the thrust where it should be. And whether they get the canter to depart at first or not doesn't really matter to me. So I'm going to go ahead and hop on this guy Flax, and I'll show you some of these exercises to help you with your canter. One of the most basic exercises you can do in the walk to help you with your canter lead is a shoulder in on the demi-diagonal. Most people would call this figure a leg yield, but we don't use the legs. We teach the hand as the primary aid, and so that's why we call it shoulder in on the demi-diagonal. Doing the shoulder in on a demi-diagonal, like I just showed you, is going to be a little bit easier than doing it on the rail. What happens when I do a shoulder in to the right on the demi-diagonal is I get pushed from the left hind to the right front, which mimics the right lead canter. In a way that it's different from the right lead canter is that the horse is bent towards the inside, towards the left, in which case it makes it a little bit easier, particularly if you have a horse that is sticky on that diagonal. Not only can it help you with emphasizing that thrust of the right diagonal, but one of the things that happens when I do a shoulder in off of a left primary rein and the horse is going to the right is that I get a little bit of a stretch of that left front up and around. So it can also help me with my left lead if the reason I don't get the left lead is that the horse is a little bit sticky. If I do a half pass on the demi-diagonal, that's going to mimic the canter lead even more because the horse is going to be bent on the side of the thrusting diagonal. So we'll go ahead and show you that next. So you can see when I do a half pass on the demi-diagonal that the thrust is the same as the shoulder in, but now I have the correct bend for practicing my canter. So using both of these figures to help supple your horse, the shoulder in being easier than the half pass, is a great way for you to work on your canter work even though you're in the walk. So just like doing a shoulder in on the demi-diagonal, when I'm doing a shoulder in on the rail, I'm accenting the right thrusting diagonal in this case. I also, again, have him bent to the left, which is going to help him to stretch that right shoulder a little bit more, but it's also going to stretch his left shoulder because it's going to have to reach up and around. So this is a good exercise, again, for focusing on keeping that singular thrust in the walk, just like you would want to do in the canter.